let's take a look at the rear uppercut. So, starting with the feet, now I'm not going to rotate my hip around. My heel is not going to kick out. I just need to drive off of that leg, transfer weight onto the front leg, and get my hip as high as I can, all the way up onto my toes here, and getting into hip extension. And then through the shoulders, what's gonna help that hip to get as extended, as much range of motion as possible, is I pull my left shoulder down and back, leaning to the left and back slightly at like a 45-degree angle, just to allow me to be on balance while I have that hip going so much up and forward into the shot. And I'm kind of putting that hip under my elbow, and then I'm using my arm like very similar to a hook, in that I stretch and then snap, and I'm pulling my bicep. Okay, and it's useful to build in the habit. Whenever I'm punching, my non-punching hand is just going to touch the temple, so I have track of where it is. Boom. So my hand is going down, but it's not going away from the target. I don't cock back, I open forward. Again, that creates the same orientation between my body and my arm as cocking back, right? So cocking back creates power, but it's too slow and obvious because it moves away from the target. In this case, I'm always moving towards the target. Of course, my hand has to drop because it's an uppercut, but overall I'm moving forward towards the target with everything, but I still get into that strong position where my body's a little bit open to create enough power. Of course, I can abbreviate my openness and shorten my arm if I need to hit a smaller opening against somebody who has tighter defense. It just depends on the opening that I've created, the opening that I see, and adjusting on the fly, putting in the right tool for the job. But the default is going to have a good mix of speed and power, so we understand the mechanics of getting the most out of our power. So my hand is going to go as low as my waist on the default shot. Okay, I've seen a lot of guys who are like, they're pretty skilled, but it's like once they learn to always keep it super tight, it's like they can't loosen their arm up. Well, they're getting a fraction of their possible power, right? So again, I believe that you can teach people to get the most power for their attributes, that you can actually teach power mechanics. You just can't bless them with certain muscle fiber density type, right? So anyway, efficient way to make the most power I can make is following these mechanics. For the default, go towards power, go towards speed depending on the situation. Hand's gonna go down about to my waist on the default, and I'm gonna follow through to about my head. So as my body opens forward, my arm is stretching out towards the target, lengthening, and then at the last second, it snaps. And it's important that that stretch and snap happen in a small window of time, so there's actually a rebound happening. It's not just like stretch, 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 stay there, and then go. That defeats the whole purpose. It's literally a rebound effect happening with your muscles, that if they stretch and then immediately they go into a contraction known as the stretch shorten cycle, okay? So boom, boom. Boom, boom, pulling that shoulder down and back, maximum hip extension. And I'm not driving from the shoulder, I'm popping the shoulder, meaning the shoulder goes up before the punch lands, pulls back down, retracting my scapula into the bicep pulling, and the final follow through of the punch. Boom, boom, right? Popping those shoulders, right? Boom, 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 right? So that's a skill. That's another skill in itself. You know, beginners, they might have a hard time popping the shoulders, but definitely don't try to force the punch from your shoulder. You should be coming, driving it from the hip, and then delivering through the pull of the bicep. If anybody ever saw Tyson Fury hit himself in the face with an uppercut, that's because he throws the uppercut the right way. Things just went a little wonky there, right? But definitely want to pull from the bicep on the hook and on the uppercut. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching The Way MMA.